the pressure was on, and I had a terrible gig. So I remember just jumping in the pool afterwards and being like, fuck this.
Never doing it again. Yeah. Our hobby that we absolutely love, that we would do whenever, became our business, right? And the crux of that is, I think that's the issue.
What is a meaningful listen of your music? Like, the numbers aren't real. They don't have that much meaning. Learning how to give yourself a pat on the back is essential in this thing. We're dealing in like one of the most powerful things humans have ever come up with. I think it's like an act of hope and love to put music out.
This episode is filmed in one of my favorite hotels in America. It's called the Line Hotel in LA. And I just want to say thanks to everybody there that have allowed us to record in this amazing space. These rooms are unbelievable, as you can see by this insane view of the Hollywood Hills. And this episode is also sponsored by them, which means that you can get 20% off your booking if you use the code word Will Clarke. Hit the link in the bio and just use the code word Will Clarke at checkout to come and stay at the Line Hotel in LA. It's a beautiful hotel. Come and do it. Yeah, it's actually interesting what we were just talking about off camera, about how the culture of partying has changed. Mm-hmm. You're not going to know this, but the first time I heard you play was probably 2010.
Oh, wow.
In Space.
Oh, wow.
In the Red Room.
Oh, wow.
For Radio 1.
Yeah.
I was recording you.
No way.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I used to not run me personally, but I used to work for the guy that ran all the podcasts for We Love Sundays.
Right.
And we did all of the Radio 1 recordings.
Okay.
I think it was 2010.
I'm going to say actually...
Later.
A year or two later.
Yeah.
But I remember that day because I did a live thing at Ushuaia when they did their live thing at Ushuaia, and then it went to Space for the after party, no?
Yeah. Ushuaia had just been opened.
Yeah. It was the beginning of Ushuaia, and it was also like peak... this is a slightly naughty thing to say, but it was when Radio 1 had 100 times the influence that they have now. And so it was really important. Yeah. Like, it was a really important show. And not that it's not still important, but this was like the pressure was on, and I had a terrible gig. They had to use local crew as part of their deal to get a Ushuaia or something, and they just weren't. I was doing a live show, and they just weren't. They didn't have the stuff, and so my live show was rubbish, and it was like 25 minutes long, and like, I don't know, I was like singing, and it was like broad daylight. It was really one of the sort of traumatic ones. I remember just jumping in the pool afterwards and being like, fuck this.
Never doing it again.
Yeah.
Do you like doing live shows?
Mm-hmm. I love it. I think I love it as much as everyone else loves it. It's the, obviously it's a lot of work. It's a huge amount of work, and it's financially really tricky to make it happen.
Have you ever made money with it?
Yeah, I did. So the last year of my first ever, iteration, I made money with the live show.
Was that with Trouble?
Yeah. But I'd been touring the project since the very beginning live. So there were like 3 years of not making anything, and any money I made went back into the project. And I was living with my parents for the first 2 years of that. And then there was a year where I did make money, but by that point I was so burnt out and confused by the whole thing. I was like, we've got to stop now. I don't know what's going on. And my team at the time were like, well, we could do a roundhouse. Like, we could go and sell out the roundhouse. And I was like, no, everyone's seen the show. I have to go away. I have to go make different music. I have to make a new thing. So I didn't really understand what was happening as well. Yeah. So I just got to the point where it was...
How old? You were quite young then, though.
26.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem young to me, but in number terms, but in terms of like what I understood about the world, I was young.
Well, it doesn't seem young now, because I think what we're seeing in our world is everyone is so young. Mm-hmm. And I generally don't mean that in a sounding like an old man, because I'm not old. We're not old. Like, how old are you now?
I'm 39.
Yeah, I'm 35. We're not old in the grand scheme of it. But like the age, I feel like the age of artists now have got way younger in DJ world.
Okay.
I don't know about you. Do you feel the same?
I certainly see lots of young people doing really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what
But
I mean.
I also see people who are in their 50s crushing
Doing really
it.
well, yeah.
So, yeah.
But I think it's more so that for me, there seems to be more younger kids absolutely crushing. Mm-hmm. And I hate using the word kids because it just feels really condescending. I don't mean that in a condescending way. Mm-hmm. But when it started for me, everyone was in their like mid-30s.
Okay.
It was successful.
Yeah.
It was almost like it took time to have success.
Yeah.
So having reasonably good success at 26 still feels quite young.
Yeah. I think so. I think that also there's a few different, there are many types of success and there are many phases to a successful music career.
Yeah.
And I think that everybody experiences this sort of like takeoff moment.
Yeah.
You know, it might be a year, it might be 6 months, might be 2 years or something where everything just seems to be happening. You know? And I honestly, I wish that for everybody.
Totally.
Of course. But then making that sustainable is a completely different type of success. Growing from there later is a whole different thing. When that takeoff happens, you know, that can happen at any point with any piece of music. But, you know, what was going through my head at the time was definitely, well, I've only got one album.
Yeah.
I have to go and make another one. I didn't understand what the next steps were. And I was also like dizzy from it all. Yeah. I was pretty confused about what had just happened. And I was partying a lot at the time. You know, there was loads of late nights. Every night was a late night. So it was just kind of, my feet were not on the ground. And then, you know, then there's figuring out how to keep it going, and that's a whole other thing.
When you reflect back on it now, would you have done it differently, or would you have done it exactly the same?
No, I would have done it differently for sure. I'm huge on regrets.
I'm down for that as well.
Huge on regrets.
Yeah. Tell me about them.
I
It's such a British thing.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I have to be honest about, you know, you got to be honest about what you got wrong.
I agree.
And certainly, like, I don't regret partying at all, but understanding that, like, you actually meet people at your best when you're sober. Like, and that you're going to meet thousands of really interesting people. Like, when you're coming up in these moments, there are going to be so many people that you meet who, if you're half cut, like, you don't get to enjoy what they have to offer. Like an amazing business connection, an amazing friendship, you're sort of shutting yourself down. And, you know, I know that I met people who I would love to be able to write an email to now, but I have no idea who they were. You know, I don't know. I just was cruising around trying to get from A to B. So there's definitely like a party regret. And
on that party regret, do you think there's a level of it helped? Because I had like previous managers that part of it, like, I've never really drank. I haven't drank for 12 years. But even when I first started, I didn't really drink. And a lot of especially in the Ibiza days, a lot of the business got done at the after party. And it was socializing with everyone just getting wrecked.
Yeah, well, that's still the case.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a route.
Yeah.
I can't say that that's not a big thing.
Yeah.
That is a really big thing. People love Coke.
Yeah.
Like,
and cat.
Yeah. And there's lots of people who've, had lots of success and have happy lives and careers without doing that stuff.
Yeah.
It's fine, whatever, either way. But it's a reality for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't. That wasn't me.
Yeah.
I just drank a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just a drinker.
Partying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, people. We all know running ads is key to getting your music heard. But unless you're a neuroscientist, running them on Meta is an absolute nightmare. Until I found Intelligent. They have built a platform which is literally 6 clicks and your ads are running. It's pretty simple. But then once your ads are running, you can watch your Spotify streams go up, your Beatport positions climb. And this is for new producers, big producers, record labels, managers. This is literally for everybody in the music industry. We're also giving you an offer, 30% off lifetime subscription. So click the link in the description, use the code word WILL, WILL, and you will get 30% off a lifetime subscription, which is absolutely mental. It's a bargain. Go do it, people. 30% off subscription for life. Use the code word WILL. Other regrets?
Well, probably, some of the deals I did.
Yeah.
Some of the paperwork I signed. Not knowing really how to say no in negotiation and just be like, I'm not willing to go. When people are like, take it or leave it, this is a deal breaker for us. You're allowed to be like, well, that's a deal breaker for me too. I'll leave it right there, And I always felt sort of pressured to take opportunities. And so, there are just a couple of little things that I signed, that really
Changed everything.
Didn't help me.
You've spoken quite a lot about that.
Yeah.
I hit you up, I think it was this year, but technically when this comes out last year, to kind of speak about this and get you on the podcast about that. It's definitely something that everyone talks about, right? Like, I don't know a single artist that have signed a major deal or signed some sort of deal.
Any deal.
Like, just at some point regrets it.
Yeah. Well, look, the game that most people are playing here on the paperwork side is how much can they get away with getting you to sign? Like, they're going to try it. That is what they're doing. That's their method.
Yeah.
They come in with something that's further than what they're expecting to get.
Yeah.
And even then, there's a little bit of scamming going on always. That's a pretty bad, hostile environment to arrive in as a new musician or as someone who's coming up. And then immediately, once you realize that, once you clock it, 2 years later, you're like, hang on a second, I've been working so hard. What's going on? And then you really start thinking about it. You start doing your research. You start finding out how all these businesses work.
Yeah.
Suddenly, like, the trust is gone, basically, naturally. You're like, oh, I was a little bit exploited there. Like, it doesn't have to be a massive thing. It's like, I was screwed over there a little bit. And that will, that takes the wind out of your sails a bit.
Yeah.
What are your regrets? I mean, I can go on, but what are yours?
I think there's similar things with like that. Not having confidence in myself to put out a bigger project.
Oh yeah. Same.
And to then put out the bigger project and realize I probably could have done it myself, or 100% could have done it myself.
Right.
Regrets on, I'd say that's probably my biggest. I think there's like obviously personal regrets, which then bleed into career, because I feel like our personal life and career life is so entwined with each other. Something for me about like, something that I beat myself up a lot about is like not being quote unquote successful at a young age, or successful young, if that makes sense. that it took so long for me to like, it didn't actually take long. It's just something in my head that it screws with me every day.
Yeah.
But like, why didn't I have it all sorted so early on? And why, when you look at other people's careers, and it's that comparison is a thief of joy, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's so easy to compare your careers to others. And then actually, when I get older, I've realized that there's on every side of the grass is shit, right? And everyone's just dealing with their shit.
Yeah.
And I think that's, I'd probably say the first 5 years of my career, it was just comparing. And it just like destroyed you.
Yeah.
It destroyed me, not you.
Yeah. I understand that. I think there has to be like that the sort of therapy term here is like there has to be like a kind of practice of gratitude. But really like learning how to give yourself a pat on the back is essential in this thing. And going back to the beginning of our conversation when we were talking about like my live show at the beginning and stuff like that, the reason that it stopped was partly because I didn't know how to congratulate myself. It always felt like I was just getting away with it or whatever.
Just getting by.
Just getting by. And like, I got to a big point really, but I didn't know how to be like, wicked, this is great. I've done it. We're here.
Yeah.
And if I had been able to do that, everything would have been much easier. Making the next moves would be much easier. So it's definitely, and even now, like it's something that I have to do, like whether that's writing it down or talking to someone about it.
That's what I was going to ask, because somebody asked me the other day about have you enjoyed the journey? Right? And it's like, does anyone ever really enjoy the journey? Like, I think there's moments of enjoyment throughout the journey, but like, I can't say I've enjoyed the journey, because it's almost like, okay, you do this, then next, then that. And it's like, okay, whatever. It's just the journey of life. But like, do you actually sit down and go, yeah, that was an enjoyable journey? I don't know.
Well,
how have you kind of changed your process of that?
I think that I do enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
Because I love making music. I love making music so much. That is just incredible to me. And I get to spend a lot of time doing that. There are times when like 5 days, 6 days a week, I get up and I make music for the whole day and maybe do some exercise and eat some food.
Yeah.
But like that's incredible. You know? Unbelievable that I get to do that. So I love that aspect of it. And I love meeting the people that I get to meet. I love seeing the places, traveling. I love that fries my brain a bit. That's so trippy to go around the world and to have relationships with cities over 15 years that you see now and then, and you're like, oh, this is what's happened to Frankfurt or whatever. No, that stuff, I really do love it a lot. And, dancing and all these things that we get to do. There are other parts of it that I really, really don't like at all. Yeah. And are really difficult. And I think, the conversations that I have with my friends is like, we're always trying to address that balance and like undo the mistakes and like bring it back onto a course where it's really fun. And that's not easy at the moment, especially the last couple of years. I think it's particularly difficult. Nobody I know is really enjoying releasing music. Nobody. Everyone's like, it's an impossible time to release music. Yeah. But yeah, and the other thing to say there is like, you put so much energy in, the return is super abstract. Yeah. And strange, and on social media, and royalties that come through a year and a half later, if they ever turn up, and a fee for a performance that actually you have to spend most of it and give most of it in commission and So often the return just isn't doesn't equal what you put into it.
You're so right.
And that will destroy you after a while if you don't figure out some.
I think that's where I'm at. Like,
fair enough. That's really hard.
Like, to be fair, like, I think that's where it's got to. And again, talking to a lot of friends, and on this podcast, it's similar to that, where it's more of. It's tough though. Sorry, I'm like kind of like processing it as we talk about it, but like.
That's all right.
What you said was, which really resonated with me, was writing music is so much fun.
Yeah.
It's like why we do it, right?
Yeah.
At some point, our hobby that we absolutely love, that we would do whenever, became our business, right? And the crux of that is, I think that's the issue. Because business doesn't care about anything. Business is just business. And on all levels, right? If we look at like Uber, let's just use Uber for example. Uber, when it first came out, it was marketed as like the cheaper taxi. We're looking after all the drivers. 10 years down the line, drivers earn fuck all money. They have to drive 12 hours a day. Business is just business. They just have to look after the shareholders, right? We are the product to the shareholders of whatever that looks like. I just think it's happened more now.
I understand what you're saying. And I think that's like a general, that's generally where things are going. There's like a bit of a squeeze on everything. There's a lot of sort of high level greed, and the culture is like, it's about a couple of people getting very rich, but I do really think there's a way to operate that feels nice and feels fair and healthy. I can't remember what your situation is with labels and stuff, but I self-release my music through The Orchard. I have my own label go through The Orchard, and that relationship, that thread of energy in, energy back, energy whatever, energy out, energy in, that works for me.
Yeah.
I feel safe there. Like, that's all right. Like, there's a thing there. It makes sense. I don't feel like there's any points where I'm being screwed, or totally, there's any poisonous corners there. That's cool. Having these bits that work balances it out, and because we've got all these streams of income and people that we're all doing like 7 jobs, and some of them are going to be just hellish, and some of them we can make into healthy things. Like, I don't think I'm ever going to have like a particularly healthy relationship with social media, because I don't know how to do it. Like, I just, it's not for me. Like, I'm very happy to talk to you right now because you've invited me to be here, right? But I find it almost impossible to invite myself onto my Instagram page to say something to the people, like that's like, I don't know if I can do that.
It's weird.
So that, there's a place for me that I think I'm always going to be 5 steps behind where I should be. Whereas my business side, on my master side, I'm like, okay, this is all right. Like, so I think you can make it healthy. Yeah.
I think it just feels there is a big, it's not just music. It's this kind of what we were talking about before and off camera. It's like, there feels like a big squeeze at this moment in time where it almost feels like it's going to implode. Mm-hmm. It feels like it's at the point of like, almost when like the property crash happened in 2008. Feels like it's so good for that eventually something's just going to change. Yeah. What if you could change one thing? What would that be?
Well, I don't know how to answer that, but like, let's talk about that bubble you're talking about, like the feeling of the bubble, like, because we have a sense that there's this thing has got so big. Yeah. But the thing about it is that it doesn't feel like there's enough context and meaning for it to be so big. Yeah. or the context and meaning that makes it work for other people doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
So I think what will change is more meaningful art and music will come through in other places or within our greater electronic scene. But eventually people will be looking for something other than the kind of like giant rave, right?
Yeah.
And being in the booth and being in a reaction video or
Yeah.
these like measures of social capital basically is the
Yeah.
game we're in, right? And once we've decided that these things aren't valuable anymore,
Yeah.
then it will shift, and I think that'll be like meaningful music.
But I guess to push back on that, a lot of that meaningful music came through small venues.
Yep.
Like there was a culture of like underground,
Yeah,
small venues,
for sure.
which those small venues are no longer, right?
Not many of them.
So, yeah, in comparison, like I grew up in Bristol, and there was probably like 5 or 6 in it. It's 500,000, like 500, 600,000 population city. There was like 5 to 6 underground nightclubs in Bristol that like you could go regularly every weekend, and it was a party.
I was a student there for a term.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Timbuktu,
Yeah.
Dojos,
Thekla, Blue Mountain, the Black Swan.
that's still going, I think.
Really?
I think so.
Yeah, I used to go to some like breakcore raves at the Black Swan. It was like way before this jungle revival.
Yeah.
There was like a breakcore thing. It was either new school drum and bass or the breakcore artists. I liked both.
Yeah. Castro's.
I know that one.
It's like a hard house party.
Right. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, not at all. But I think that's where interest in music came through. I just had Barclay Claude on the podcast this morning, and we were talking about weird records used to become popular because DJs would play them in clubs and they'd have a reaction, and that's how the records grew. But does that, what you're saying, does that happen in a day and age like now? Because no one's opening a 200 cap club, especially in America.
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I do see the sound changing though, and I witness that when I play.
Yeah.
Like and like, there was a period after the pandemic of like bangers being essential. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like things that were really banging in quite a specific way, and like there was a kind of like conformity to the sound of dance music, and I notice now that I can play weirder than I could 2 years ago.
Amazing.
And like I can play something that would probably, count as like minimal, 2004, 2008 minimal sound, and people love that. And that wouldn't have worked 4 years ago. And so, there is always something shifting. Whether that means that like the 500,000 DJs that have jobs can keep their jobs, I don't know. But it is moving. Like that's the thing that is exciting, and we have to hold on to. It's moving, and we love music. So we go.
I think it always has, right, as well.
Yeah,
it's always moved.
So much has changed.
Yeah,
so much has changed. The weirdest time for me is not even now. The weirdest time in DJ culture, club culture for me was like 2017 to 2019.
Really?
That was weird for me, yeah.
Why?
I felt like that it was the beginning of the reaction video on Instagram.
Yeah.
And which has massively affected culture.
Yeah.
And that started to sort of like funnel everybody. Things got less weird then for me. Like people did less weird stuff. They started just going, okay, well, we need these kind of tech house type drops, and we need, or like a, ABBA bootleg kind of moment or something. And like it, like music got onboarded onto social media.
Yeah.
Like social media we all got addicted to the game of social media, and then we started shaping musical choices so that they would read well on social media subconsciously. And like, I think that that's when that kind of happened.
Yeah.
And I saw like a split where the, you know, left field, more experimental, out of the box electronic music stuff just started disappearing from the lineups.
Yeah.
And it became like DJs who can bang it out. You come here now, let's go. Yeah. So that was the weirdest time for me.
I think that also kind of coincided with streaming platforms playlist.
Yeah.
When it became so powerful.
Yeah, yeah. You're right, actually, yeah.
Where it's like you have to sound like this to fit on this if you want your record to do well.
Yeah. And the sort of like, 4-bar intro edit. Yeah. I'm really interested that like the sort of like banger, two-step garage, new school baseline banger thing is like perpetually getting bigger.
Yeah.
Like this isn't a diss to anybody, but like this is like the 4th, 5th time that sound has been done, and it just continues to, and I get it, it's like so exciting and so energetic, but it's fascinating, and I think that it's there because of Instagram.
Yeah, 100%.
But and good tunes, but
yeah, good tunes and good moments, right? And like I think that sometimes can be forgotten, that why do we go to a club to fucking to be given, to escape reality, and to be given a feeling that you don't get on a normal everyday life, if you know what I mean. And no matter what you're listening to on your AirPods, listening to a banger in a club just creates a different feeling.
Man, I think that's why me and you go to a club, but I don't think that's why most people go to a club. I think most people go to a club to hang out with their friends. It's a social thing. And like, we're musicians, so we're going there to hear the tunes and like be stimulated, and
never even thought about that.
Or like, a lot of us want to disassociate a bit and get fucked up. But no. Like, everyone else is a social thing going out. So like, the bigger the party, the more of a social event it is, the more social clout is at the party, the more people want to go there. The hotter the people are, the more special you feel at the event. That's what it's about. That's what actually this thing is based on. It, like I said earlier, it's like a social status game.
I get that now.
And like
I get that,
we're looking for something else when we go out because we're in love with the music. And of course there's going to be people who are also there. Yeah. And what you want is the combination. And you want some people who are coming to the club because they're serious music heads, and you want some people who are coming because they just love to dance. And you want some people who are coming, you're trying to find somebody to go home with. Like, it's this mixture that makes it exciting. That's what makes a good party. And it's also really weird that like we're in a musical space that involves this physical space. Yeah. Because loads of other music scenes don't have that. No. They have a concert, sure, but like mostly it's people listening in their car.
Concert's very transactional.
Yeah. No, we're in this, like, there's two ecosystems, and really the club is bigger than the music a lot of the time. Or Circa Loco is a gigantic brand. It's bigger than any DJ in itself. The DJs they book can't sell those tickets in those places, but Circa Loco can sell those tickets in those places, and people want to be there because it's the place to be, and the DJs are cool, but mostly because it's the place to be.
Yeah, you're right. And then there's the level in the industry now where you're at concert level, where they become concerts, but they're also still not concerts. Mm-hmm. Like,
that's quite a hard thing to balance.
You don't see a band with a bunch of people on stage with them, like taking selfies and all of that. Mm-hmm. But we're also in a day and age where there's DJs that can sell 10, 20, 30,000 tickets themselves. and it's treated like a concert because it's like in a stadium, but it's not at the same time.
Those are the anomalies, though.
Yeah.
And I think we all, it's tempting to compare ourselves to those moments, those people and those acts. But like, first of all, none of that was happening 5 years ago, let alone 10 years ago. Like nobody was selling that amount of tickets as a DJ. No. But also like, this is a rare, exceptional thing.
Yeah. But how does that shape the industry? Because I think we're so on social media, right? But that's all we see. Okay. So if you're 15-year-old kid wanting to get into, want to be a DJ, want to write house music, want to write techno, want to write some sort of electronic music.
Yeah.
Like that's the measure. That's the measure. Mm-hmm. And when I could probably say there's 10 artists in an industry of thousands and thousands and thousands of artists that can achieve that. But you don't see that when you're 15. You don't see the other tens of thousands of artists trying. All you see is the top.
I think that when you're young, you aim at what you'd be comfortable achieving. There are plenty of people, probably more people, who go, I want to play at Fabric one day, than go, I want to be Tiesto one day. I know Dom said...
I'd push back on that.
Dom said, I want to be Tiesto.
Yeah.
Or I want to be as big as Tiesto when he was younger.
Yeah.
He said that, he shared that publicly, he shared that with me. Like, he had a target of being a mega star. I have lots of friends and people who send me demos and stuff who are like, I want to play at Fabric.
Yeah.
They want to have a track out on Hessel Audio.
Yeah.
That's their
goal.
That's their goal. I think that you just have to not be warped by what you see online, and you have to really try and find your heart. Like, it's a value system that you witness online, which is crazy and really hard and just so difficult to win.
Yeah.
And there has to be like a passion and like a thing where it's coming from music. And sure, there are lots of people around at the moment who use electronic music, DJing, particularly DJing, to get famous, to get attention, and you're playing on the same pitch as they are, which is just like a fact. Yeah. There's no way around that. I think all the things that we're talking about with how funny things are right now, they're all the antidote to all of them is music.
Yeah.
And making something that you love, standing behind it, and then going and making something else that you love.
So how do you work through your expectations? Do you have expectations with your music? Okay, so you're self-releasing now, right?
Yeah.
So that it's hard for the expectations not to be there.
Yeah.
So how do you work through them? Or what are your expectations as well?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I'll try and answer it. One of my expectations is that I'll give my music a fair opportunity at a cultural success, as in I want to release things and put things out and promote them in a reasonably sensible, smart, cool way. You know, that's an expectation of mine. And when I mess that up, or somebody that I'm working with messes that up, I get upset about that because I put all this work into the music. The least I can do is send an email to someone saying, hey, here's my song, or whatever, do the functional things of. So I have an expectation to behave reasonably within the industry as an artist.
I like that.
And as for how many people love it or how much it streams, I'm letting go of that one for sure.
When and how did you learn to let go of that?
Well, it's not real.
Okay.
The numbers aren't real, man. Like, the numbers aren't real. They don't have that much meaning.
Yeah.
What is a meaningful listen of your music? Like something that is played in a cafe on a playlist. Great, cool. Something that's played on the radio, amazing. A DJ wanted to play it.
Yeah.
People putting on the music on their headphones and listening, like when they're lying down in bed or something, like that is fucking meaningful to me.
Yeah.
Like somebody choosing to put on your music at home, and really absorbing it and it meaning something to them. Like, none of these things relate to 1 million streams or 10 million streams on a song. And without getting myself in trouble here, that number itself is not real. You know, like it's not real.
Yeah.
The numbers you see on plays and stuff, they're manipulated and they're manipulatable, and they are part of a business plan from every platform. Obviously there is an element of that's how many people are listening to the music, but it's like you only have to look at how many streams you could get on Spotify 4 years ago and how many you can get now.
It's like tanked.
Yeah, right. So which one was real, that number or this number?
Yeah.
I don't care anymore. Like,
what was the like tipping point for you though to not care? Because I feel like there was a point where you did care.
Well, yeah, for sure. When you know, probably when I first got into the back end of a DSP, my sort of the artist portals, and I was like, oh wow, okay, you can see how many people are listening right now. You can see what playlists it's on and stuff, and that is really cool. Yeah, and you start to sort of get a bit hooked on that. I think time in doing this, thinking really about like what I love about it, watching people have incredibly good careers when, you know, they don't have any social media followers, or watching people sell out venues when they have 50,000 monthly streams. Like, you might be tempted to think that all these numbers line up to make one clear picture, but they don't.
They don't, no, not at all.
So why take any notice of them? You know, they hurt.
Yeah.
You know, when you look at them, they hurt.
So realistically, in summary of what you're saying is like, just do what fucking makes you happy.
Yeah. But you know, there was an important bit at the beginning which is like of my expectations, which is like, you have to release work well into the world, and you have to make good business decisions. Yeah. But your reason for doing this has got to be that there is a creative, artistic impulse in you, and you allow that to grow and flower, and you follow that direction. Yeah. Man, I think a lot of people treat this, not just in dance music, electronic music, but across music, like we're footballers, and that we should be training and strategizing every day. Yeah. And that we're trying to get into the Premier League. Like, no, thank you. No. Like,
is that not what appeals to you?
No. Yeah. Not at all. I want to write a good chorus. Yeah. I want to make like an interesting techno groove that no one's made before. I want my peers to enjoy my music and be inspired by it and go and make their own.
The peers thing is such a big part of...
Yeah, the community is important. Yeah. Yeah. I'm really grateful when musicians write to me, or when I try and write to musicians when I like their music.
Yeah. It's so important that. Yeah. Like I do try and do that on a regular, of like, if I've heard something that I absolutely love, just send them a message, man. Sure. Because that is worth the million streams to somebody that cares about their music. Having somebody that they look up to, or even just a level peer or whoever, just to go from musician to musician, your music's fucking great.
Yeah.
It's like such a good feeling.
Yeah, it's really nice. Yeah. And it makes you feel heard, basically. Yeah, I've had conversations with friends before where they're like, you know, they've said, well, you know what, I actually want to be like the best musician in the world. And I don't.
Yeah. What does that look like?
What does what look like?
The best musician in the world.
Man. I don't know. I couldn't aim at that. Like, I can't. Well, it's just like, well, right, you're obviously going to fail. Like, that's never going to work.
But I guess then again, that's the question is like, are you okay to fail? Like,
it's not a failure if you're not setting it as your target.
Right?
Yeah. So, yeah.
And
my target is not to be the number one, whatever the fuck I do, person in the world.
Okay, but let's look. No, I totally agree. But I think the failure is where the art is the consistency of failing. How many times in our careers have you failed?
Well, it's sort of constant.
Right?
Yeah.
It's the artist's career of failing it sounds really powerful, but it's not. It's just waking up every day and doing it.
Yeah, I think it's like, you know, you have an aim and you miss. You have a target and you miss. And well, my new album, to bring it to that, was supposed to be a club record. Yeah. Like I really wanted to make a club record after the last album, which felt like, you know, there were some sort of like festival stage type dance tunes, but a lot of it was, you know, ballads and pop songs and stuff. I really wanted to make a club record. Had a strong target, had a strong idea what that would sound like. And I missed. And I sort of was aware the whole time that I was missing, you know. And even the tune on there that I think is the most clubby.
Always With Me.
Well, I've been ending my sets with that. It's nice.
Yeah.
But it's still like an unusual thing to play in a club. I think the echo is like quite clubby.
Okay.
It doesn't sound very good in the club.
Yeah.
Like, but that's fine. Like, I don't care. Like, you know, that's fine.
Yeah.
The point is eventually to like follow the creative impulse and work where you are.
Before we get onto the album, because I do want to talk about that a lot. But you brought up a point. I did my first album 2000 and last year.
Mm-hmm. It's a great record,
but not last year as of when this comes out. 2023.
Yeah.
No, 24. Thank you. I made that record to be a live show.
Oh, really?
I didn't make that record for a club.
Okay.
And I still, like, I tried to play the records as a club because the label was like, we need to promote these records as club records. I'm like, it's not a club record. Like, these records, I made these records as songs in the sense of they're 3 minutes. They're 3.5. I didn't make a club record and then cut it down to make the Spotify version or the radio edit. I made these songs to be listenable songs. Fly's undone.
My fly was undone.
That's going to be the best clip for this podcast.
For the first 45 minutes. Just letting it breathe.
Like, how do you find that? Because your career has been very much, you write songs. And I wouldn't say they're necessarily all club songs or necessarily always work in clubs, and some do, some don't. How have you managed to kind of work that?
Well, I haven't managed to work that.
Okay.
I've just, like, it's always been a bit of an issue. Overall, I think it's really bizarre that we're like, you know, we're all musicians and we're trying to fit our music into this box of the club.
Yeah.
And it's a mistake, basically. And I think about what everyone would have made over the last 15 years if we weren't trying to do that. If we were just sitting down and like, sure, we like electronic music, sure, we're inspired by Detroit,
Yeah.
you know, like whatever it is, like we love jungle, okay, so let's just make some pure music.
Yeah.
That we're not thinking, how, but is a DJ going to play this, or is there going to be a reaction video at DC10 of my song? Like, it's not been good for the music. It's been bad for the music. It's been bad for us as artists.
It's commerce over creativity.
Yeah, and conforming into a value system.
Yeah.
That, like, it's not very musical, actually. 120 to 140 BPM, 4/4 kick drums, or two-step, you know, like...
Yeah, garage beats.
Everything has to fit on that. So, a lot of the time I haven't done that. I've put out songs that are ballads and, you know, things that are very different. And
so do you just not play them, or do you play them?
I don't play them when I DJ.
Yeah.
I play them when I play live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that the thing, is that you mix your touring up to be strict DJ shows and live tours?
Yeah.
And
it's one or the other very much.
And has your fan base understood that yet?
I think that people are nice about it, but I think it really annoys people.
Yeah.
For sure. But I don't know what else to do about it. Like, you know, I can't go to a nightclub and play a sad song, a sad ballad. Like, I have to play the things that keep you dancing.
Yeah.
But I'm very grateful that people have been kind of like understanding. But no, it's been hard to make it work. You know,
Yeah.
I wonder if one day there's a time where, you know, I really just tour live, and quite rarely. You know, it's like very special occasion shows.
I think the best people that have done it in our world is the Chems.
Oh, I actually completely agree.
Yeah.
I think those albums are amazing. They all stand alone as like really amazing music. And then they have a live show that like doesn't feel like a DJ set at all to me. It feels like a live performance. It doesn't feel like a club thing. It has like this pure rave approach, and they're absolutely amazing. I feel like also their first albums are very underrated, like, and not really talked about in the way that they should be talked about.
Yeah.
I also think Underworld are in the same box, and like obviously they've got a mega hit, but like all of their material is pretty remarkable, and their live shows so fun.
Yeah. Faithless was the same one for me growing up. Like that was my first ever show.
Yeah.
It was Faithless. And but do you think that can be done starting out again now? They come from like the bands that we're talking about come from very different era.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
You see people like having successful live shows like in the last couple of years that have come up pretty hard and have an audience everywhere, and if they keep the music interesting and exciting, it'll carry on.
Yeah. Justice have killed it as well in the more modern.
Yeah. Yeah, this last tour was a huge success for them. Yeah.
Amazing show. Album.
Okay. Now that my flies have done it.
We can talk about it. First of all, I chucked it on yesterday as I was driving. I wanted to give it I wanted a long period where I was doing nothing else apart from just listening.
Thank you.
And I chucked it on, and it opened up with Desire. And it like instantly put me in this mood of like California 80s feeling. Just gave me the feeling of what that feels like. It wasn't, I'm not saying that's what it sounds like, but it just made me feel fucking amazing.
Love that. Thank you.
And that cut, Desire, to open with that record, it's like, kind of for me, it just put me in the world of the album straight away, and it was like, okay, I'm buckling in and I'm listening to this. And then In the Darkness comes in, And they're like, this might offend you, but don't be offended by it, because I'm saying it in the nicest possible way. That the trance lead that comes in, but it's not a trance record. And I was then going into like the records on with like my producer heading, because I listened to it twice. And the attention to detail of like hits, just hits popping off here and there, and just sonically how you've built the album is fucking amazing.
Thank you so much.
It must have taken you a while.
Yeah.
And I know, like, from your first album to your second album, there was a long time.
10 years.
Yeah. There wasn't as long from the last album to this album. How do you get from album to album?
Yeah, look, the gap between 1 and 2 was incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
And, well, it was incredibly difficult for not many good reasons. You know, like you start to get lost in your own crap.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that I overcame that stuff, because once I put that out, I just felt this huge weight off my shoulders, and really was able I approach music differently now. I'm just like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
This is awesome that I even get to do this. I have some goals in mind, musical goals that I want to explore, things that I want to do. But basically, my job is to play, and my job is to finish.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about finishing stuff, because for a decade I was terrified about finishing stuff.
Okay.
And so the joy of the whole thing is back for me, and was back. And I think an album can feel like a sort of a huge thing, undertaking.
Yeah.
It's not. It's just not.
I agree.
It's 11 pieces of music,
Yeah.
if you want it to be, or 15 or 7. And you have to place it somewhere that's attainable in your head. And if you're imagining that you're going to go and make a masterpiece and you're going to change the world, you're never going to do it. You're never going to finish it. You're going to send yourself mad, and everybody around you is going to go mad and be sick of you.
And then when you put it out, it will never do that.
Nothing will.
Yeah.
That's an extreme example, but it's the end of that line of that train of thought.
Were you ever there?
Not quite, but I was definitely like, with the times with the last record, with the previous album, the one that took a long time to make, there were times where I was like, I need this to be perfect.
When the Lights Go, we're talking about that, yeah.
But that album, during that time, there were other albums that were made, basically, but I just couldn't see it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't put them together. I couldn't put them out. So this one was just like, I just gave myself an easier time. It's really, the ball is in your court always as the artist. And make sure that I carved out a lot of actual hours to work on it.
Yeah.
And look, there are mistakes in it already. I hear things I wish I'd done differently, but that's all right.
That's fine.
I have a strong inclination to what I want to go and do next, and I can't wait to do it.
Yeah. It's describe the feeling of when you hand that album in when it's completed.
This one?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a bit like jumping off a cliff. It's a bit like the moment where you're jumping into the sea and there's like a split second where your stomach is in your throat.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck. Sort of bracing for impact. And that lasts for a while. And then really only now that it's out do I relax.
You can breathe.
Do I unclench?
Yeah. Is this the first self-release?
No, I've been self-releasing since 2018.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. When the Lights Go was self-released as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
do you obviously you prefer self-releasing,
100%.
but what's your team around releasing records? Is it literally just you and the Orchard, or like how have you built your team so that your records do the best they possibly can do in the climate that we sit in?
Well, there's a management company that I work with who are great, and with the marketing budget for the album, see how much there is there, and then, you know, I get to go and basically hire the people that I think will do the right job for it, or people that I have good relationships, whatever it is. But it's like there's no one in between me and them.
Yeah.
And I've always found it a bit funny when the record label hire the PR, or the record label hire the radio team or whatever, because they have their own relationships with that radio plugger or whatever. And that radio plugger might have 7 other records from that record label that week that they're trying to get played. And you're then in competition with other people
you're paying.
It's very strange. So just prefer it to be a direct relationship. I also, you know, I think like cutting out as many middlemen as possible is nice. And look, I don't think there are that many specialist skills in this industry.
Agreed. I
think that if you're bright, you can do this, and you can figure out what needs to be done to put a record out. You know what the different positions are and what they're supposed to do. What you need, though, that's really difficult, is people to help you reduce the workload, because there's only so many hours in the day, and you've got to also make music and tour and work on projects, and there's all these other things you got to do. Between me and those people, it all happens and feels good.
Yeah, that's the main thing, right? Is that you feel good about it. There's nothing worse than being in a situation where you're kind of powerless. I think you can only blame yourself if it doesn't do what you have.
That is exactly kind of it. Like, you know, almost it's that. Not exactly those words, but it's my responsibility.
Yeah, that's better.
Freeze it up. It makes it, because if I am mad at a record label because something hasn't happened, I'm just another artist who's annoyed with them.
Just blame.
And they've got loads of those already. You know, I don't want to be in that position. I want that energy. Like, I want to know if the PR person says to me, "Look, no one wants to talk to you about this album." It's like, all right. No one wants to talk to me, that's fine. You're telling me. But if there's then a different people in between, and I'm getting mad at the record label because they hired that PR and then no one wants to talk to me, it's like we've got a stupid little triangle of frustration here.
And guarding. Like, the record label's probably not going to turn around and say to you that no one wants to talk to you.
Yeah, it's going to be some other line.
It's going to be some other, like, oh, we're working on this, we're trying this.
Can you post more on social media?
Where it's like, guys, just be honest, right? Like, whereas when you're managing it yourself, is you can see the full picture, and it's clear. I want to talk about Always With Me with the actual record on the album. This was like a moment where I was listening and I was like, this is a cut. This is an absolute, like, I love it. I absolutely love the record. Why did you put it on?
I felt that I wanted there to be some electronica in my head. That song is like an electronica record. I wanted there to be some pure electronica on the album. I wanted there to be something instrumental. And then it was a really enjoyable track to make. It took a really strange bunch of turns when I was making it. It feels fresh and strange to me. I like that. When I was making that tune, for some reason, the gain staging was very, very, very strange. So, like, all the channels were down at almost
zero.
Yeah. and everything was pushed within each part. Like each part was processed super loud, but then incredibly quietly mixed. It was really messy, and loads of rendering big chunks of it, putting it into a whole new session, rebuilding it, adding new layers, rendering a whole chunk of it, rebuilding it. I think it's like the center, it's like the axis, it's the, what's the word? It's like the hub of the record.
Yeah.
And the picture that it paints and the sort of, like, to me, there's like a landscape in there, is like, it's the home of the album.
It almost felt to me that it's like a reset.
Yeah.
In a complete positive way, is that it's like that comes on and then, okay, we're back in it. And it's almost like freed my ears of everything that I've listened to, and now I can listen to what's coming next.
Cool. Great. I love that.
Yeah. I really like it when albums do that.
Yeah.
And it's not just all balls to the wall.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's important.
Yeah.
Start again. This is the best ending to a record.
Okay, thank you.
At what point in your crazy mind was like, this is going to be a laugh, but it also works so well? And then the name of it, like I don't want to put words into your mouth, but for me, if I look at it as like somebody that writes music, like on my album, the last song was probably one of the most important songs for me, and it was called You Alone. And the last word on it was, I'm here with you. So it was like the whole album for me is just like, I'm here now. Now I'm going to go do this again. Mm-hmm. I felt like Start Again was kind of like a similar vibe of like, you've listened to it now. You're listening to this like beautiful drone for a long time, and it's just resets. Mm-hmm. You're like, it reset my vision of like, okay, now I can go listen to another TEED album.
Yeah, well, it certainly wanted it to be like a reset moment. In my mind, like, the story of the album sort of happens over a few days, and this record, the last track, is like you're leaving where that happened, and you're on the drive to the airport, you're on the drive home, and it's 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And like the sun is coming up just, and you have an awareness of what's just happened, and it's simmering, but you're also in the fertile void of the future.
Yeah.
Like, and what's next?
And not knowing.
And not knowing.
Yeah.
And well, I just said fertile void. But that is what it is. And also, like, it's peace. You know, like, there's a peaceful moment. Like, everyone's had a good, very early morning, like, crystallized daydream on the way to somewhere, like leaving a party, or you know, and it's just that blue is just, the night is turning into some kind of blue, and I love the end of the record like that.
It's fucking great.
It's also mastered quite a lot quieter than the rest of the album.
Oh man, you're making me want to write another album.
Yes, let's go. That is the whole point.
I've got like enough records for another album.
Of course you do.
Like, and then it's just like,
why not?
I want to. Like, the goal for me, that I had expectations with my last album that my expectations were far greater than what was achieved. And I think it's given my team like PTSD from the word album, but it was so much fun for me
to make.
It's the best. And you spoke about releasing music and how people don't enjoy it nowadays. And yeah, it's hard. Releasing music's very weird nowadays. But there's something about an album that I had never experienced before, which was why I wanted to do it, was there's a body of work that will just always be there now. And I feel like there's difference between singles and albums, or even EPs and albums. Mm-hmm. It's just like, it feels like it's a part of you that's just always going to be there. Do you have the same feeling?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think everybody should make albums.
Yeah.
Like everybody. People who aren't musicians should make albums. Like, come on. It's cool.
Yeah.
You can do it. No, I love the idea of contributing to this music culture, and I think albums is the best way to do that.
Yeah.
Like that, you know, I know that sounds like a little humble, but I really do think one of the goals here is to contribute. That's what I want to do.
Contribute to what?
Add to the thing. Like, add to the big, beautiful world of music that we've got going on, and like carve out a few little new corners that haven't been done before, and hopefully inspire some other people. It's a really amazing conversation that we're all in.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the time we underestimate how exciting it could be. Like the thing of sort of like fitting your music into the club box, you know, like that's a shame. But we're dealing in like one of the most powerful things humans have ever come up with.
Yeah.
We should be like really proud and excited to be part of it and contributing and adding our voice and bouncing off each other. And, you know, like it's I think it's like an act of hope and love to put music out, and an album is the best format. You know, it's a cool thing to do.
It is, man. It is.
And everybody who's doing it, I think it's a cool thing to do.
I agree. Which then comes on to my last question. Life advice. It's something that I hate asking, but I also love these moments in conversations and podcasts and interviews where like somebody gives a bit of advice to the world, not just to music, just to the world. Like, what is that one piece of advice that
oh my goodness
you would like to put out?
Oh my goodness. What is my one profound bit of life advice?
The thing is, it will change tomorrow. This is why I love about it, because like you can listen back to this in 10 years' time and go, "What the fuck was I talking about?" Or actually, no, I agree with that
for sure. Okay, well, give me 20 seconds to think of what that is at the moment. I mean, right now, at the end of 2025, which is when we're having this conversation, if I'm allowed to bring that up, I think that like as the world gets more confusing and we get hit with more information through our phones and whatever, and like the weird conversations we have with strangers who've seen a whole different bunch of information from us. I think it's more important than it's ever been to be very conscious about what art you consume, and to do it in a considered and loving and careful way, and to see reading a book as an investment, and going to a museum as an investment in yourself, and a way to ground and stay sane.
Yeah.
You don't always need to be consuming new stuff. Like, things are classics for reasons.
Yeah.
And taking the time to go back to classics, or going back to something that you thought was a classic and revisiting it. I think this is a way to stay on the right path right now. Yeah, especially with the sort of AI slop era, which, you know, unless I'm very, very mistaken, is right about to land. Yeah, stay really in touch with the good stuff.
Yeah.
Be my advice right now.
Love it. Dude, congrats on the album.
Thank you.
Like I said, it's amazing. I can't wait to hear what's next. I don't want to know what's next. I just want to wait until it's out and hear it.
Thanks, man.
Keep doing your thing, man.